Morning, morning, morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have a physio in the house. He plays for a prominent football team. He's in Premier League. Excuse my ignorance in football, by the way. Just have to throw that out, disclaimer straight away. And he's going to tell us about how he got into the industry, why he's in the industry, and what motivates him. So nice to have you here today.
Thanks, good to be travelling with you today, yeah.
Sorry?
Good to be travelling with you today.
Oh, thank you very much. So, why physio?
I guess growing up playing a lot of sport, always been interested in that side of things. I think my best two subjects at school were probably biology and PE because of the interest in sport as well. So it seemed like a nice kind of balance between those two areas that I was quite interested in. I think also being interested in sport but not being good enough to actually be a professional sportsman meant that you had to look for another avenue to sort of be in and around that world really, and that was the one that kind of got me into that arena.
What age did you come to this realisation?
I think probably about 16, 17 when you're starting to have to think about finishing up at school, what subjects you're going to take and what sort of direction you want to travel in. I'd seen a few physios for just little injuries and things that I'd had myself, and I think that was the kind of moment where, having seen what they did up close, I think that was the moment where I was like, yeah, that feels like something that would suit me. Feels like something I'd be interested in sort of pursuing.
So what was the journey like in the sense of education? You said from 16, so all the subjects you chose from 16 onwards, were they all related to physio?
Yeah, definitely pushed me kind of in that direction. So obviously more science-based, biology, PE, chemistry. So yeah, that was leading me sort of towards that in terms of school stuff, and then went to the University of Birmingham. Did my undergraduate degree, so 3-year degree in physio there, which gives you like quite a broad kind of understanding of physio and everything related to it. And then a couple of years after that, did a master's in Sheffield for a year and a half. Was again diving a little bit deeper into sort of the area I'm a bit more interested in.
So this time when you're doing your work experiences, you're not working in physio, you're just doing any work experience?
Work experience, I think I did work experience at the local golf course, just because I think my friend of my dad knew someone that worked there, and it was an easy enough one to do.
Do you think the course you did was relevant to what you're working as now? And do you feel that you needed a degree to get into where you are now?
Yeah, you do need the degree because it gives you. So in order to call yourself a physio, it's like same as a doctor. It's like a protected title. So you need to have done that degree and that certificate to be able to use and practice under that title. So obviously it's directly relevant, and it's one of them courses that you decide to do at 16, and that leads you into that. It leads you directly into a job, whereas obviously some other degrees you might do don't necessarily lead you into a direct profession afterwards.
Yeah, okay, that's good. What have you learned from your time in the industry that you wish you knew when you started?
It's a good question. I think you learn to deal with lots of different personalities. I think that's the main thing, whether you're working with general population or whether you're working with professional athletes. You have to be able to work out different personalities and find ways to unlock them, ways to kind of help them open up, because there's a hell of a lot of different people out there with different beliefs and sort of requiring different interactions and different types of communication and information. situation, really, yeah.
Oh, when you say different beliefs, are you referring to like religious or health-wise?
No, more related to health related beliefs. Is kind of more directly relevant, I guess. Some of them may be religious related as well, potentially. Definitely cultural, but also just education and beliefs on what they should be doing to keep themselves healthy, or what they shouldn't be doing to avoid themselves getting injured.
Do you find as a physio that because everybody's in the sports industry, they actually listen to you?
Yeah, they do, but also I think the higher up in sport you go, you have people that are at the top of their game, and they believe they're at the top of their game because they know what to do.
The God complex.
Yeah, you know, I think the way they'll view it a lot of the time would be, well, it's got me this far, doing what I think's right. So why do I need to listen to someone else that's telling me something different? And it's trying to find a way to get them doing the right things without feeling like they're having their belief or their sort of their way of doing things challenged too much.
Yeah, I see what you mean. What does the future hold for you?
Hopefully working in football for a couple more years. I've worked in a few sports before. I'd like to move to something else, another sport potentially, different environment, different type of personalities. Obviously working with a Premier League team at the minute is you know, kind of a big goal of mine that I had for a while, so that's a great one to have achieved. But yeah, maybe moving into a different area, different sport, something new to keep things fresh, really.
Okay, that's good. If you had to speak to your younger self, your 16-year-old self, what would your words of advice be?
I think it would. I mean, in terms of like, we've talked probably mostly so far about career and sort of professional life, and I'd say probably more by luck than judgment. I picked a career that I ended up enjoying. I think at 16, you're kind of forced to make a decision on what you want to do for the rest of your life, which I think a lot of the time you're probably not in a great place to do that necessarily. But I was probably fortunate enough to have sort of had half an idea of what I wanted to do for work, and actually further down the line realised that had been a good decision.
So you ran with it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So went with that.
What are the kind of injuries that come up? Typical injuries that come up in the...
Yeah, we get a lot of muscle injuries, hamstrings, quads, groins. That's probably the most common.
Was that stretching or?
Yeah, normally running quickly. Normally running quickly does it. You know, like if you ever see them at the Olympics when someone's sprinting and just 100 metres or 200 metres and pulls up, those type of injuries where they're running quickly and they're pushing their body to the limits. That's a common one, as well as ankles and knees from contacts and twists and, you know, turn ligament sprains. Those kind of things are, again, probably the most common groups. But you get a nice mix to keep you interested.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. How do you... Physio is just about the meat side of things. You do the flesh side of things, or muscles. You don't deal with the mental side of things. We don't directly. I mean, where I work now, we do have psychologists, full-time psychologists. Okay.
So when someone is injured, because it can be a challenging time, a bit of an upheaval if you tell someone that they can't do what they do for a living and what they enjoy doing for the next couple of months. That can be a challenging time. So they will have opportunities to sit down and speak with psychologists who are in the best place to kind of have those conversations. I guess our training is like you say, more related to the mechanical and the body, whereas the psychologist can help explore kind of some of the mental and psychological challenges that being injured and not being able to sort of participate in things has on an individual. So it's definitely an important part of it.
How do you deal with the players who have to be told you're never going to play again because of a certain injury?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably fortunate that I probably haven't had. I've probably had one a fair while ago. It's not common. Maybe in sports like rugby it's a bit more common. It's not common though, but it's a difficult conversation to have, and I think by that point they'll already know. They'll already have had multiple problems. They'll already know that they're struggling to play. Their body's sort of letting them down a little bit. But you have to just be honest and frank with the information that you're giving to them, really. I think as long as they know that you've got, a lot of the time is they'll want to play, but they also need to know that you've got their long-term health and that best interest at heart as well. That you're trying to look after not just them playing football for the next couple of years, but them also being able to look after their children for the next 10, 15 years, be able to play with their grandkids 20, 30 years later on.
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. Well, you've been an interesting guest. What would you say a 16-year-old or a young person should be aware of when becoming a physio and working?
I think you've got to be aware that you're never gonna have all the answers. I think you've got to always be open to accepting and recognising when you don't know something, and being able to go away and explore that area a bit more. I think like anything in life, once you feel like you've found your way of doing things and you become set in your ways, you close yourself off to any more learning or any more sort of development on your own part. So I think that's a massive part. It's an ever evolving process that you're never going to master, but that gives you a real motivation to constantly try and keep growing and keep developing in everything that you do, really.
Okay, well, that's really, really good and stuff. And has there ever been a point where you just thought, this job's not for me anymore? And if so, how did you get over that?
I mean, like I say, I'm working in an area that I'd wanted to for a long time. So at the minute, that's not. No, I enjoy what I do. Every day I go into work, I sort of relish being there and enjoy some of the challenges and some of the stuff that comes with that as well.
Okay.
So that helps kind of negate a lot of those more sort of negative times when you're overall you're engaged and it's a positive experience. Too many times where I felt necessarily it's the job or it's the career that's the issue. At times maybe it's the people and it's the place that's the issue. And I think if that's the case, you've got to be prepared to walk away from things when they're not good. I think maybe sometimes people kind of accept or settle for being treated or not being appreciated or acknowledged enough.
Okay. Well, that was super informative. We more than appreciate what you've just given us. My last question to you is, and before that, at Taxi Chronicles we believe in sharing a gift. Sharing a gift means that you talk about what you do and other people can take it on and learn from that. So, if you were standing in front of the world, based on your experience so far, what would be your word of advice, your sentence of advice to the world?
I mean, there's obviously a lot that goes into that, but I guess based partly on what we've sort of talked about so far, I think is to be reflective and to be honest with yourself, and don't be afraid to change your mind or change your path, change your career if it's not working for you. I think you've got to be ready to walk away from something, even if it's served you well for a period of time. As soon as you recognise that that it's not serving you anymore, I think you have to be ready to walk away from things when you need to as well.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well. We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channel. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.